This is Broadcast Obituaries, Gone Too Soon. We exhume a short-lived TV series, episode by episode, give it a proper eulogy, and answer the burning question, was it canceled too soon or not soon enough? Analysis, nostalgia, and our final verdict on TV's fallen heroes. Hi, I'm Rob, your TV coroner.
And I'm Aaron, and this is Broadcast Obituaries. These shows might be gone, but they won't be forgotten, not while we're around. This season, we're pulling the 1994 show Earth 2 back from the edges of the abyss.
Someone's got to do it.
Right.
That's why we're here. We're here to save this show.
Yep.
Hey,
So-
so I was thinking this, we're going to mention it in a second here, but this episode was the first one of Earth 2 that aired in 1995. This aired on January 8th, 1995. Everything else has been in 1994.
Yep.
And I was kind of thinking, 1995, that's halfway through the decade. What happened in January of 95? I'm just like, what else is going on?
Yeah.
We're here, we're talking pop culture. We're talking 30-year-old pop culture, but
Yeah.
pop culture nonetheless.
It's a long time
What
ago,
happened?
man. It was a long time ago.
Right. Right. So I was just kind of curious. So I looked a few things up. And so the Golden Globes happen in January, apparently. I don't really keep up with award shows, but apparently the Golden Globes happen in January. And for TV, the winners of those shows, let's see, for Best Drama, we had The X-Files, which was a
Nice.
fantastic show.
That was good.
Representing nerds. I love it. That was a good one. And for Best Musical or Comedy Series, there was a tie. It was Mad About You and Frasier. Did you ever watch either of those shows?
I watched both.
They're both
of them.
kind of grown-up shows.
Yeah. No, I watched both of them though. I liked Mad About You because Helen Hunt. I mean, come on, 90s Helen Hunt. Heck yeah,
Right.
I'm there for it.
Sure.
And Frasier was that adult show that I watched because I loved Cheers, so I watched it, but I don't know that I was old enough to understand the content, like some of the stuff they were talking about. But I was like, hey, it's Frasier, so this is great.
Gotcha. I really liked Mad About You. I watched a lot of that.
Yeah.
As a teenager, which is weird because it's a show about adults who are married and married life, and it's kind of weird for a young teenage kid, but I did enjoy it.
Super weird.
Honestly, yeah, I know, but I'd never watched much Frasier, honestly, when it was on TV, and it wasn't until probably my senior year of high school, which was a few years after this, before I realized my friends were all watching Frasier and loved Frasier, and I was like, really? I don't think I've ever even heard of this show. I'm sure I'd heard of it, but I eventually turned it on, and I would watch a little bit of like the last season when it was on, and I thought it was fine. But it was definitely one I did not get into. But I thought those were a couple of really big things going way back to the mid '90s there.
Yeah, it's funny how you talk about Mad About You because to me it was just a sitcom to watch, But I was 12 in '95, so to me it was just another sitcom. It was like anything else on TV. I watched Murphy Brown too, but I'm sure I wasn't old enough to understand half the jokes, but it was TV, and I was excited to be there for it.
Right. Yep, I'm with you. Something else exciting that happened, it actually happened the week after this episode came out, but Star Trek Voyager launched on UPN, that new network that they were trying to take off there. But that was exciting. I remember watching that debut premiere episode. It's called Caretaker, and it's kind of dumb, but you gotta have something to start the whole show.
Somewhere.
Something's got to throw them across the galaxy so they can start this journey home. So
and
it was,
the first season or first few episodes of any Star Trek series are never winners out of the gate.
Oof, no, they sure are not.
Yeah,
so it's kind of funny. I've been listening to the last episode we did as I've worked on it, and I thought, man, next time we should not talk about Star Trek at all because that's almost all we talked about.
Every time.
It comes up a lot. But here it is. I could not mention that Voyager launched
fits.
within a week of this episode. There was another fun pop culture event that happened that I found here. And in January of 1995, the O.J. Simpson trial started.
Oh my gosh. It took
Remember
over.
That?
It took over everything.
It was everything. It was everywhere. You couldn't go a day without seeing it.
Yep. We used to have it on in the TVs at my school. You would watch the trial over your lunch break, and the day the verdict came out, it was literally classes just stopped and everybody put the TV on. That was all you were doing, was just what happened. I mean, it took over the nation. It was wild.
It was nuts. It was completely nuts. It's bizarre how overwhelming it was, how it just took over everybody's lives for nearly a year.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Insane. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so a couple things that I found. The History Channel launched starting like an American obsession with World War II
World War II. Yes,
and Nazi. That's like all it was. I'm pretty sure it was.
right.
They should have just called it the World War II channel instead
They
of
really
the
should
channel.
have. Yeah.
But I was there for it. I watched a ton of it, and at one point,
Yes.
I wanted to be a history teacher because of it.
Nice.
So I
What
watched
happened with
much of the
that?
history.
Are you teaching history now?
Definitely not. I learned more
Okay.
about public education system and the rules and regulations in place. And I was like, I don't want to do that because I won't get to teach what I want to teach. I bounced from that idea. The other thing is the Macarena. I don't think it was in January, but well, we all remember the Macarena, the
Well,
stupid
sure.
dance. Yeah, but I know that was somewhere in 1995. And when I saw your notes on this, what happened in January of 1995, the first thing I thought of in 95 was Macarena.
Nice.
I just remember everybody doing that dance.
I saw your note on it, and I just had to go out and look. And the song itself actually came out like in '93, but it didn't get big until the middle
Yeah,
of the decade. So like '95, '96 is when it really started hitting it.
yeah, yeah,
Became one of the biggest songs of all time. Step
yeah.
back, Beatles.
Get out of here.
Yep, the Macarena is here.
Yeah, it made a resurgence recently. My daughter was doing her TikTok videos with the Macarena, and like it made its rounds again. My wife and I were
Wow.
both disgusted by it when we saw it. We're like, why are you doing that? Knock that off. So
I had no idea it came back.
yeah, it was brief, but it was back.
Like I said, I'm in touch with 30-year-old pop culture, but I am definitely not in touch with current pop culture. So I definitely missed that.
Yeah, yeah,
So
1995.
yeah, 95. It's a good year. So speaking of Earth 2, I guess we weren't, but that's what we're here to speak of all the time. So I did notice something about the premiere dates of these episodes so far and just thought I should mention it. Up until now, we're on episode 8 now. Episodes 1 through 7 all came out 1 week apart. Like it debuted in October, November. I'd have to go back and look at our records here. But every Sunday night, there was a new episode that came out. But episode 7 came out in mid-December. Episode 8 didn't come out until about 3 weeks later here on January 8th. From this point on, there are very few instances where we get a new episode 1 week after the next. There's a couple, but for the most part, it's 2 to 3 weeks in between every brand new episode. I'm sure they were showing reruns or something. Maybe not
Sure.
every week, but there were probably reruns mixed in with the Super Bowl or whatever was going on. I don't know. But yeah, they do not come out consecutively very often from this point. And even it gets confusing towards the end of the season, but the season finale technically is the third to last episode that came out. There's a 4 week break before that episode. And so I think that's technically like the 19th episode. There's 4 weeks between 18 and 19. And then episodes 20 and 21 are tacked onto the end. Those are a couple that we've talked about that were not originally going to air at all, and they just put them on at the end of the season. So they were filmed very early, and they just kind of plunked them on. They were ready to go. But starting from this point, the gaps in their schedule start growing, and definitely could play a large factor in why the show lost popularity, in my opinion.
Yeah. Like I saw again I saw your notes on this and that's a show killer right there.
Yeah,
Leaving those big
yeah,
chunks. That's 2 weeks is probably more than enough time for people to forget about a show,
yeah.
right? To
Right.
even like to move on to something else. And
Maybe,
it's just
maybe
insane to
nowadays,
me.
I don't know. In the mid '90s, we did not have all the streaming options.
Well,
You couldn't
yeah,
jump to another show. We didn't even have DVD. You could get a TV show on VHS, but very few people did. You
hard.
weren't like
Yeah,
you weren't
and
running to the library or Netflix or something to rent your
yeah,
tapes.
yeah, and like TiVos and stuff were really probably what just taking off. So you weren't doing a lot of recording, digitally that way. But yeah, so
Right.
in context of the 90s, you've forgotten about this show. You moved on. It wouldn't.
Yeah.
You're right. It wouldn't happen now because we would have got all these episodes
No,
dropped
I'm
at
saying
once.
well,
You
true,
know,
but I think
so
it would be more likely to happen now because there are so many options that you could, if it like, I
mm,
forgot what shows I was watching a week ago, honestly. I couldn't even tell you.
yeah, but
I
consistency
started
is
the new
there.
Terminalist show. I watched one
Yeah,
episode, and there's like 4 or 5 out. I haven't even gone back to it because there's just so
yeah.
much out there. I haven't had time to do that. So
So then it's not good enough to watch, is what I'm hearing. Don't watch the
yeah,
Terminalist.
nah,
I don't know. I don't
actually
know. I
I'm
don't know
through
either.
2 episodes now, and I loved
Oh,
it. It was
okay.
great.
Yeah, but I think that's the
Only if you like
difference.
violence. If you don't like violence, don't watch the Terminalist.
Yeah,
But I enjoy violence in my media.
yeah, same here. I think that's the difference though, right? Is that now you know that if you want to watch a show, it's always going to be available. So I don't have to watch it week to week, right? How often do you watch a show weekly, right?
Like just once
Typically.
a week.
Yeah, like you just tune in for that new episode once a week.
When new shows are dropping, like there was a show on Apple that we watched called Shrinking,
Yeah.
and we binge the first season, and then the next season was coming out, and we would pay attention to the calendar. And we'd say, "Hey, it's Wednesday. There's a new episode out. Let's watch it." And we would
Sure.
watch it every Wednesday when it came out. So
Yeah.
if
So
they
there's
don't
some
drop them
shows.
all at once, we definitely
Yeah.
try. If we like it enough, we are trying to catch it when it comes out.
Yeah. And we do that too with some of our favorites. But even some shows like Peacemaker, we hit a point we watched for season 2, we watched episode 1 and 2, and they were like, let's just wait until this is all out so we can binge it.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
I
It's not that
definitely
we
do
don't
that
like
too.
the show, it's just I want to watch it all, and I know that it's always going to be available now. I'm not gonna Where in the 90s you missed it. If you weren't there to watch it that night, you'd
Right.
have to make sure you knew when the rerun was going to play. And that took a lot of effort because then do I need to be up at a certain time on a Saturday or Sunday morning to catch that rerun? And it's like, do I care that much, right? So you're really making choices. But now I can watch anything whenever I want. So
It's
yeah,
true.
it's a
I'm
big
with you.
change.
Maybe from modern TV watching, maybe it depends on the type of show. Like Shrinking is
Hmm.
kind of a sitcom-y, like a dramedy, and the storylines don't necessarily override from episode to episode. Whereas a show like Peacemaker or The Penguin, these are the types of shows that
Hmm.
you probably like you don't want to have to wait a full week in between if you can avoid it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like Penguin, I waited till it was all done, and then I added a few months on for safekeeping, and then I watched the entire show.
For safekeeping.
Yeah, just to make sure
Yeah,
there
just to
wasn't
make
a
sure.
surprise episode. But then I purposely waited and didn't, when I had
Yeah,
time, I sat down and watched all however many there were, 7 or 8.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, maybe it's the type of show. Maybe that's
It could
what
be.
determines it.
Habits have changed. Yeah, and our habits have
Yeah.
changed with
Yeah.
streaming and things.
But regardless, to your point, yes, in the 90s,
It's a show killer.
even then, you
Yeah.
couldn't wait 2 and 3 weeks in between new
Mm-mm.
episodes. That's when Lost really started to struggle. To go back to
Mm-hmm.
that, we talked about that a few weeks ago too. 2 or 3 seasons in, like they had determined somewhere along the way that their filming schedule was about 8 days. Took 8 days to make a brand new episode, which is a little long for TV considering episodes should come out weekly. And they started like they were running behind and they would just run repeats. And the show was so serialized that
Yeah.
these episodes were just coming out of nowhere and it was not
Yeah.
making sense to people, and that's when they really started floundering. That's when I dropped off the show. It was like
That's when we
mid-season
dropped off
3.
too. Yeah.
I was just like, I can't keep doing this, and I was done.
Yeah. And they didn't do a good job of telling you when it was a rerun. So you tune in and be like, I saw this one. What's happening?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And which kind of stunk if you were planning your evening around that show. You're like,
Yeah.
Lost is on, great, let's make popcorn, let's pick up dinner, we're going to sit down, we're going to watch the show while we eat our dinner. And
Yeah.
then you're sitting there, you got your plate of food, and you're like, crap, it's a rerun.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, do we find something else now? And it kind of was a real downer.
Yeah. It's a buzzkill. Yeah.
Yep. What are we talking about?
Earth 2
5
and Earth
and Earth
95.
2.
We're talking about
That's
a lot
right.
of things right now.
We're talking
Yeah.
about so many things. Yeah, we're talking about the filming schedule for Earth 2. Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah. No, it's good to know
Before,
because it's something I'm going to try to remember as we watch these episodes, is that if I had 2 or 3 weeks in between these episodes, which I know we're doing now, but that's because of our schedules. But back in the 90s, how would that have impacted my viewing habits for this? So,
right. Well,
all right.
hopefully our episodes are coming out weekly. The people
Well,
listening don't know that we took a 2-week gap there.
yeah, maybe we
Oops,
have
we just
lives
told them.
and kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're doing our best.
Quit yelling at us.
I can just hear people crinkling their brows at us right now.
Right.
Can you hear
So
that?
what are we
I can
watching
see
this
it.
week?
Yeah.
What do we watch this week?
So this week, we watched episode 8 of Earth 2, The Enemy Within. This episode originally aired on Sunday, January 8th, 1995. The TV guide description says Julia hopes the secret injection of Yuli's DNA will make her the link to the Terrians. When her VR visit with Riley is disclosed by True, Julia's conflict of Project Physician Council Patriot is considered by the group.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds
This
good.
was a really good one. I
Yeah.
felt like I know we'll jump in and we'll talk about it, but my immediate reaction after watching was like this was really good. So
Yeah.
enjoyed
There
it.
were the last few episodes they've had like 2 different storylines going at the same time, and they don't really interact with each other. Each storyline, they're completely separate. This episode, like this is it's about Julia and what's going
Yeah.
on with her, and that is the focus. With some minor other stories as they should. It can't all be her, but this is by far the bulk of this episode, and as it
Yeah.
should be. This was a good one.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So this one starts off in a pretty unique way, and I really enjoyed this. But Yuli and True are in the old west, and they're playing a game in their VR. And I thought this was really, you don't really know what's going on at first, although they've been kind of leaning into the VR lately, so we
Yeah,
can kind of assume. But Yuli is this little sheriff, and True is being held by these bank robbers, and he's
yeah.
trying to
The
capture
damsel in
them. And
distress.
yeah, and she eventually ends up stomping on the guy's foot that's holding her and walks away. She says Yuli was taking too long, and she kind of takes over. But I
Yeah,
thought this was a lot of fun. I thought it reminded me a lot of A Christmas Story when Ralphie has the little dream sequence when he's got his Red
yep,
Ryder BB gun and he's there chasing down Bart, the criminal that's
yep.
coming with all his henchmen.
Black Bart.
It had definitely had flavors of that. I thought it was pretty cool.
Hey, look, Bart! When you come back, you'll be pushing up daisies.
Yeah, yeah. I had the same thought, and when I saw your notes on it, I was like, oh, yeah, we're on the same page. It was really fun to see them stretch a little bit and do something different. So I really enjoyed that. The part that caught me about this scene is so Yuli, as the sheriff, stops one bad guy, shoots him, and the other bad guy's holding True. Why did he hesitate? Do you think he wanted to see what would happen if that bad guy pulled the trigger? Like he really just stood there. He wasn't going to do anything.
It
I
was
was like, why
definitely
the
not.
pause?
It was definitely not my thought. I did not
I kept thinking,
think
like, why is he not doing anything? Like, it's a game, it's a VR game. You can't hurt her. Take the shot. Like, shoot the guy. Like, let's see what happens. But
so.
I don't know. It was really
You're
interesting to me.
I did not anticipate your reaction that he might be curious what would
Maybe
happen
I
if
was
True
just
got shot.
Yeah, maybe I'm just a dark person, but I
Yeah.
was like, I don't understand. It's just a game. Do something. But yeah, you're probably right. I'm probably wrong. I'm sick and twisted, and I apologize. Oh,
No, no. We're both sick and twisted. We just have a different read on this
yeah,
particular
yeah.
situation. That's all.
It was funny. Well, and I think I played into it too because I don't think like Yuli and True haven't got along
No,
for the show so far. So I think that's part
no.
of where I went with it was,
Yeah.
I think he's like, shoot her. I don't care. I
I don't care. I don't even like her.
don't even like her. Yep,
She stole my horse.
that's right.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, but good opening. I liked it.
It was. It was definitely a good one. It was fun. Honestly, this is one of the first fun things that has happened in this show.
Yeah, it was light, which was
Yes.
enjoyable. Yeah,
Yes. I mean, we did have like the wedding in VR last time and Morgan playing the VR
yeah,
drums. Everything semi-fun has happened in VR,
yeah,
but like this is like the first fun moment that we've had like in the
yeah,
show so far. Kind of
yep,
crazy. Julia goes back into VR to talk to Riley again. He is really trying to get her, like he wants her to tell him where they're located because he wants to come just take Yuli so he can study him and figure out how to use him so they can colonize the planet here. And
yeah,
that's like the driving force of this episode.
yeah. And it felt like, I mean, the scene was important, but it was really just there to kind of set the tone for the entire episode, I think, because
Correct.
the conversation we've seen them talk before, but the conversation here changed, right? Like Julia's kind of pushing back, and Riley's like, picking up on it, and you start to see that dynamic play out that Julia's, kind of getting attached to people. So you kind of know where it's
Yep.
going to go. But it was good.
Yes. She is getting attached because as she tells us, she's a physician. She's there
Oh,
to take care of these people.
yeah, I don't know if you noticed it, but she said it about a million times in the first 5 minutes. I'm the group's physician. I'm the group's physician. And then the narration kicks in. I'm the physician for this group. And I was like, yeah, we know. We all know that you're the doctor. Okay. You grow horses out of beer cans, like we get it. You're the doctor. So stuff like that nags me though, that repetitiveness. And it's like,
Yeah.
is it just bad writing, or are you afraid that people have forgotten that she's the physician?
They need to
So,
know I'm the doctor.
yeah, I'm the physician.
We do get to see Morgan early on in this episode. He is apparently keeping records for the authorities still. And he's kind of being a jerk about it. He goes to talk to Danziger and he's like, I got to check the maintenance log on this machine. And Danziger's like, listen, it breaks, I fix it. What else do you know? And
Yeah,
the reason for this, like he goes over and he talks to Julia too, and he's like, hey, I assume you know how to keep records and you understand the importance. And she says, yep, I do. I take very good care of this. And I think the whole point of this storyline for Morgan, because he hasn't even referenced records once before
not
this,
at all. Yeah,
not in the slightest. I think the whole point of this is because of his attitude and talking to Julia, it's now opening the door for something that's going to happen later in the episode.
yeah,
Julia is going to come back to him. I think that's the only reason he's got this little storyline running here.
yeah. I thought too, it was good to see that, everybody, like in a situation like this, everybody needs a purpose, right? So
Yeah.
while we hadn't seen him doing any record keeping, it makes sense to me that he's like, I need to have a job while I'm here because Morgan's not good for much else.
No.
So he can take records. That's fine.
Right.
And it's probably driving everybody else nuts, but at least he's doing something.
Sure, he's feeling
know.
important, maybe.
Right. Yeah. So, but yeah, you're right. I think it was the setup for the episode.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Danziger is working on one of their dune buggies, and when he's done, he tells Zero, "All right, you can put her down." Apparently, you couldn't even see him, but apparently Zero is standing there holding the dune buggy up off the ground so he can change the tires or whatever he's doing. And Zero's like, "Okay, boss," and he just lets go of it and just drops it. Just drops it. And of course, Yuli is playing underneath it at the time, or close enough.
Yeah, close.
To be in danger, and somehow Danziger, apparently Zero doesn't just drop it straight down. He tosses it up in the air just a little so Danziger has time to slide through and tackle Yuli out of the way.
Yeah, and I rewound it and watched it again because I was like, I'm pretty sure Yuli was in front of it. I think Danziger might have overreacted, but it was fun. A little bit of, action. And again, we got to see just a glimpse of Zero. You did get to see like a leg under the dune buggy on that shot.
That's it. Yeah. And Yuli ends up getting his leg kind of scraped up a little bit there, which I think Danziger probably caused. Not anything that Zero did, but it was his over panic there.
Yeah.
And that also really is just there. I think that whole thing happened for this episode to happen because Julia needs a reason to check on him there.
Yeah.
So that's all kind of preamble stuff. Julia heads back into VR. She is in VR a lot this episode.
All the time.
A lot. And she heads back in and she proposes to Riley that she takes some of Yuli's changed DNA and puts it into her own bloodstream, because I didn't realize this. I should have thought of it sooner, but she is a mad scientist.
I have one question, Dr. Frankenstein. That's Frankenstein.
She's completely crazy.
Turning into that, yeah. And I don't know. We'll talk more about it. But yeah, that was when she said that, I was like, what? Like, what are we doing now? She's like, I'll test it on myself. I'm fine with that. It's like, you are insane.
She's done testing on Alonzo now. She's been giving him all those pills to fix his legs and finally found one that works. So now she needs a new test subject.
I didn't even think about that part. Yeah. Here's some new pill for you to pop and see what happens.
Right. She's a mad scientist.
Frankenstein.
She is. You're right.
Yeah. So Riley is not crazy about it, but he's like, okay, Citizen Heller, go for it. So she decides to go looking for him, and she's going to tackle it right now. But when she goes to their tent, all she finds is Devin, and Devin's wondering what's going on. She says, I just want to check the dressing on his cut, the cut that just happened 2 minutes before. And Devin's like, well, I'll go get him. She says, no, it's no big deal.
No, just do what you're doing. Not important that you be there. Okay.
Do not worry about it.
Trust me, I got it covered. Children.
Trust me, just trust me. So Devin kind of definitely looks at her like, okay, it's weird for her, this whole conversation. Yeah.
It was a very awkward conversation, as most scenes with Julia this episode are.
They really are. Yeah, they ramp up. They get much worse. So she goes, she tracks Yuli down, and she puts him to sleep, and she does a spinal tap and takes some of his spinal fluid so she can get that juicy DNA out of him.
Yeah. And you're not supposed to get multiple spinal taps. He's already had one, and wasn't it in the last episode or 2 episodes back when he was sick?
Recent,
the Tyrians made him sick, and she's like, "Oh, we'll just take more spinal fluid." It can't be healthy for the kid.
I can't imagine it is, no. But I feel like it's happened 2 or 3 times already this season. Maybe just once or twice. I feel like it's a recurring theme. She definitely just keeps going to that well of child spinal fluid.
Yeah.
So she gets it out, and she does whatever her mad science is that she's going to do to it, and gets it ready, and she just injects it straight into her brain.
1.21 gigawatts.
She starts off with a low dosage, though, because, she doesn't want to go completely crazy.
She's not a mad scientist. She's going
to
take some precautions.
Just a mad science. Yeah. Not long after this, Devin notices a puncture mark on Yuli's back, and she kind of puts it together with the conversation Julia had. She knew Julia was looking for him, so she goes to ask her, did you do this? And she's like, well, yeah, I took some of the spinal fluid as part of a test. And she just kind of lies her way out of it. She just makes up some excuse, but she is getting sloppy, way too casual and loose about this.
Yeah. And the one thing I really noticed here is she seemed way more sketched out than the other times that she lied, right? Or she's had to try to hide something.
Yeah.
You can tell something's it's not just that she's trying to cover up. It's a little extra. And that sketchiness is where it starts to ramp up from here, I think, with her.
I agree. She's, it's not good for her. Things are going poorly. Part of that might be because, she has someone else's DNA in her brain, along with possibly some Tyrian DNA.
Frankenstein.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I didn't want to spoil it.
Right, right. So shortly after this, Alonso goes back to his tent, and she's there waiting for him, and she wants to talk about their
Oh, yeah.
feelings, and she is just like not right,
She-
like she is not acting right, and then they kiss, like they have this long moment, and that's kind of where it ends. We don't know what happens after that, but she was
Yeah.
like off.
Yeah, it's clear here that that injection has got her high. That's what she looks like to me. She looks like she is literally just high, ecstasy, something. She is all up in her feelings.
Yeah.
She's wild-eyed. You know, it was
You're
it was
right.
really off-putting. I was like, you are not okay. And I don't know how Alonso didn't notice this, that she was completely not herself. But he just rolled with it.
Well, she wanted to kiss,
Yeah,
so he was gonna definitely roll with it. He's like, well, she's acting a little weird, but kiss, come on,
yeah,
get to kiss a girl. I've been
Yeah.
stuck on this planet for 6 weeks. And
yeah.
it was 22 years before that. I want to kiss a girl.
I don't want you to break my heart.
I'm not gonna break your heart.
So
Kiss a girl.
So he's going to roll with it. But yeah, she is. Yeah, you know, I didn't really think about it before, but you're right. She does. She is acting like she is on drugs. Like
Yeah.
that is definitely how it feels.
Yeah, it becomes a theme for me when I watch her through the episode. She's like a drug addict in this episode.
I almost can't not see it that way now that you've said that.
Yeah.
Because it definitely comes across that way, and it definitely gets worse. Like in the next scene, Alonso gets up in his own tent and heads over to find hers, and she's over there sleeping. And I just got to say one thing. I've seen this a few times in the series in the last couple episodes, but when Alonso broke his leg, they cut his
Yeah.
pants. And like
Yeah.
one leg became shorts, and then the
Yeah.
other leg is fine, and he is still walking around like that. And the leg that is shorts, underneath it, he has on like long johns. So
Yeah,
it's like
it's just his
white
johns
long
shirt.
johns sticking out underneath, and it just looks hilarious. It cracks me up
Yeah,
every
it's
time I see
ridiculous.
it. How are we supposed to take
Yeah.
this guy seriously?
I don't know. And they obviously have clothes because Morgan gave all of his clothes to a Grindler and he got more. They're not
Right.
going to give him any pants.
We don't have one spare pair of pants that has both legs that this
Right.
guy can wear.
Yeah.
It's
Nope,
funny.
he's going
It
to have
just
to have his
crack- every
own
time I see
underwear
it.
exposed.
Yes.
I was thinking about you.
Why?
So anyway, he walks like this in his half pants. He walks over to Julia's tent, finds her there. She's sleeping. He wakes her up. He's trying to talk to her. She does not remember anything from the previous night, and he
Yeah.
gets super mad. He basically tells her he's just done with her and walks out, storms out. And as soon as he's gone, she starts journaling. She realizes the behavior is due to her experiments. And so she immediately decides that her best course is to increase the dosage
Yeah, I need more.
of alien DNA in her brain.
Yeah.
You're right. It's like she's on drugs and
She's
she needs
she's
another
on
hit.
drugs. Yeah. And I started thinking about what's the future of this planet going to look like when they realize they can take syndrome children that have been cured by the Terrians and then tap their spinal fluid to use as a drug, right? So like they're just like this whole future of Earth 2 is going to be not good because we know humans are going to find and chase that,
Sure.
that track. So it was just
Absolutely.
it's just funny to me. But yeah, she's 100% addicted. She's not even thinking clearly about how dangerous it is. She's like, this is just great. She even talks about it. I feel great. Everything's more tactile and more
Right.
connected, and I'm more alert. And it's like you're
Mhm.
on,
She's hyper aware.
yeah. And it's like you're just taking super Adderall, and it's not okay.
Uh-huh.
Like it's really not okay for you.
So Morgan is working on his records, and that was why they had to have him doing this, because he needs to be. Julia has realized she needs someone to confide in, she needs someone to help her, and she thinks this guy is a government official. He is big on this kind of thing. So she confides in him. She takes him out into the woods to tell him this big secret. And it's funny because he thinks that she's putting the moves on him and she's interested in him.
Listen, Julia, I don't want to presume anything about what your intentions might be, but I want you to know that Bess and I are very happily married. You were just at the wedding the other
Morgan, shut up.
But no, she tells him that she is in contact with the council, and he is not on board with this at
Oh,
all.
He is
He's
sketched out.
terrified. Yeah,
Yeah.
he is freaked out by the council and the things they
Yeah.
can do. But she goes and she tells him everything. She tells him all her mad science that she is doing, all of it, and that she wants his help. And he's like, we should definitely go tell Devin and the others.
Yeah.
So she, apparently was prepared for this, and she hits him with the hypo spray and knocks him out. And that's the last we see of it. We don't know what happens. She maybe killed him. We don't know.
Yeah, he's gone. Yeah.
He gone. He gone. He is just missing, and everyone is searching for him the next day. So all we know is that he ain't back.
I do want to go back because I think there probably is a small scene that we should mention that happens right before this. But True,
Okay.
who's just discovered Snow, overhears Julia talking in VR. So she's having another VR conversation with Riley. And we've talked about this. How does she just keep sneaking off? Putting on VR where she's completely unaware of her surroundings and nobody from the camp has caught it. And now we see it. Like somebody's
True finally did.
Yeah, True finally caught it. She doesn't do anything. She observes,
Right.
but she's aware.
And she also sees a Tarian. Like
Yes.
while Julia's
Yeah.
in VR, a Tarian pops up to talk to her and like just kind of shrieks,
Yeah.
and it hurts her brain. She can't hear any words,
Yeah.
but True witnesses the entire interaction.
Yeah, and it was really interesting to me because Julia's in the VR and she starts telling Riley, somebody's here, somebody's touching me. But it takes her a full minute to rip the VR off to see what's going on. She just,
Why could
She
she not
just-
just lift the glasses?
yeah, it's like you don't seem really that concerned. I mean, you just keep telling Riley that somebody's touching
Right.
you.
There's someone here. If someone touched me when I thought I was completely alone,
I'm out.
I
Yep.
would scream first and lift those glasses to see what was going on. And
Yeah.
she is like, I'll be right back. Like she's,
Yeah,
let's wrap this up later. Like, no, just look.
yeah,
It's wild. And then like the whole time I thought it was going to be True for some reason.
Oh, I did
Why
too.
would True be over there touching her? And then there's a
Yeah.
Tarian standing right there. It's kind
Yeah.
of cool. Kind of
just
cool.
trying to figure out how she's making a connection, right? He knows something's
Yeah.
not okay.
All right. So everyone has been searching for Morgan all night long. They finally go check on Julia. They realize she hasn't been looking, and she's acting very sus.
Julia! Yes?
We're looking for Morgan. He's missing. Have you seen him?
No, I haven't.
He's not here. I can see that.
And Devin is starting to notice her behavior. She's like, this is not right. Something is wrong with Julia. And Julia, again, does not remember anything. But when she goes to lay down, she was just sleeping at her table. She gets up and goes to bed to lay down again. She finds a part of Morgan's coat in her pocket
Yeah.
because she ripped that off of him the night before and she saved it. Apparently, she saved that patch of cloth before she did something to his body. So she goes into VR again, and she's telling Riley what's going on. And Riley is like, I do not like this. You are not right.
Yeah.
Like everyone around her, again, she's a drug addict. Everyone
Yeah,
around
they
her
all see it.
knows something is wrong except for her. And
Yeah,
this
she-
is the conversation then that while she's having this conversation with Riley, True again observes it, and she gets her headset, and she apparently can just join into their conversation. She's like on a three-way phone call.
Yeah, that's the part that really got me. Even in the future, nothing is secure. I can just join anybody's VR experience anytime I want.
That's right. Hope it's not
So-
too personal. I'm coming.
I know, right?
I'm coming
Yeah,
in here.
That's right. Yeah.
Look out.
But yeah, it was really weird because even when she joins, it's more like they're just aware, right? Because Riley's like, somebody else is here with us.
Yeah.
You know?
It's got to look around.
I know. And it's like, what? Like the minute somebody would just appear, wouldn't you notice them? You're like, what is she doing here?
It's so funny.
So, but they're playing into the
So
drama of it, right?
Yeah.
The thrill of
Yeah.
anticipation of who's in here with us. Who is it?
So Riley tells Julia, get her. And
Yeah.
she ends up, they both leave VR, and she chases True all the way back to camp. And then True tells her dad and the other people there what she saw and what was going on. And Julia like sneaks back in behind her, goes to her own tent, and comes walking out. And she was like, I've been here doing this the entire time.
Yeah. 2 hours scanning DNA.
So she's trying to make it look like True is lying about it. Bess is not fooled. She believes, she knows what's going on here, and she hits Julia with a dose of her own medicine, which is literally medicine. Apparently, whatever's in those hyposprays, I don't know. But she
Yeah.
hits her with a dose of a hypospray, and while she's asleep, they start listening to her video logs, and they're listening to the recording that Morgan had going when he was doing his logs. They can hear Julia come walking in. So they now know that she is a mad scientist.
Frankenstein.
And
Yeah.
Yales is talking about how she's been experimenting on Yuli and herself with his DNA and all that.
Yeah.
They know that
Cat's out of the
she's-
bag.
She's gone over the edge.
Yeah. And this is where I think the episode really takes off. I think it gets really interesting here.
Agreed. But also, this is a good episode, like start to finish. Like this
Oh, yeah.
has been
No,
a
the
good
whole
episode.
thing-
But now it is like hitting.
It's like it
Another
starts
gear.
strong and it just keeps ratcheting up. From there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It does. So they're talking about what they're going to do, and Julia kind of wakes up, and she basically rolls off of her cot that she's laying on and out of the tent, like underneath the flap, and goes
Yeah.
running out. And she's looking for Morgan. She realizes something has happened to Morgan, and she probably did it, and she's trying to remember where she put him. and she's
Yeah.
out there looking for him. And Devin has followed her, and she lets her know, hey, I'm here. We're going to help you. And like she tries to talk it out. Julia resorts to violence. They start
Oh, yeah.
fighting.
It's a good fight too.
It is a really good fight. Devin's
Yeah.
got some good kickboxing moves.
Yeah.
And like they are really
They're going at
going
it.
at it, and it's pretty awesome until Julia does like this flying spin kick move, and
Some real ninja stuff.
yes,
Yep.
it is definitely
Yep.
ninja stuff. And she just kicks Devin right off the cliff, and we watch Devin plummet all the way down to
Oh,
the
yeah.
trees, 100 feet below or
Oh,
further.
yeah. Yeah.
And for a second, she gone, and then we hear Devin talking. Let's try this again, and she's standing right there beside her. They've been in VR this whole time. It was a sneaky VR. No one knew about it. I love when people
Yep.
sneak on us like that and trick
Yep.
us. And so now they take the glasses off of her and they really start getting into interrogating her.
Yeah.
But they get even less
Yeah.
out of her now when she's
Yeah.
awake
Well,
than they
yeah,
did in
it's
the
probably
VR.
not tricking her is probably not the best way, but
Yeah.
it's probably hard, like interrogating a drug addict at this point who doesn't remember where they stashed the body of the
Right.
person that they might have just killed, and you're just dumping questions on them.
Yeah.
You probably needed to have a little more of a friendly approach to bring them around, because we know Julia would have sided with them eventually. She cared
Yeah.
about them. That was a big part of the conversation with Riley through the entire episode. But I guess
Yeah.
hindsight,
But
they
they
didn't
don't know that.
Right.
Right. Yep.
So, but I'm just like, don't be so aggressive and
Right.
like take your time with her, coax it out of her. Instead, they question her like for 5 minutes and they're like, well, this is useless. We're gonna leave.
I don't know what drug interventions were like in the mid 90s, which is obviously the only thing they had to base, 250 years in the
Right.
future. They could only base it off of their time
Yeah.
right there in the 90s when they were writing this. I feel like interventions are very different things now than they were back then. They may
Oh,
not
sure.
even have happened back in the mid 90s, but now
Yeah.
that would be what you do. You gather everyone around and you talk to this person, tell them how much you care about them and love them and want what's
Yep.
best for them. That's the approach people would take. And, but they also don't necessarily see it as a drug problem.
No.
And it's technically not, but it has the same symptoms, I guess.
Yeah. Side effects. Yeah.
Right. Side effects. There we go. But I mean, if someone were writing this episode today, that is probably how they would tackle it. I
Yeah.
would imagine
It would have been a lot different. Yeah.
It would have, but
That's a good point.
So Devin did like the VR was set up to apparently capture the real world around them, and Devin tells everybody the direction Julia was going to get Morgan, and they end up going that direction, and they do find him, and he is alive. He is okay. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Tied to a tree.
He is tied to a tree. That's right.
Yep.
She strapped him down.
Yep.
So Danziger and Bess are the two that kind of find him and rescue him, and I was very happy about that. Danziger clearly has no love for Morgan whatsoever. However,
Yeah.
he's not going to let someone in his group be left behind. He is there to help him out, and he's just a good man. I appreciate that about him, and I like seeing that. It was a cool moment there.
Yeah. He's not wishing ill on anybody.
No.
So, yep.
Yeah. So Julia apparently, I don't know if they dose her or what, but she wakes up. The next time she wakes up, she is no longer restrained. She's looking around her tent. It's pretty empty.
Yeah.
And she takes a step outside, and she is all alone. Everyone else has gone. They've packed up all their trans rovers and dune buggies and everything, and they have hit the road and just left her behind.
Yep. They left her with a tent and a cot. That's about it. Yeah, and it goes into a conversation really to wrap up the episode between Devin and Yale.
Mm-hmm.
Devin's really feeling guilty. She's not sure leaving Julia behind was a good choice. And Yale talks to her, it's a group decision. We essentially voted on it. She's got to go. But Yale says something that really caught my attention because I was like, what is Julia going to do now? She's just out here alone. But Yale makes it a point to say we never found her communication device. So that little pill-sized capsule that she swallowed and puked up at one point, they couldn't find it. So do you think she swallowed it again and she'll still be able to stay in contact with Riley and then eventually tell Riley where she's at and she'll link up now with the rest of the council? It's speculation on my part. You've seen it. You've seen this ages ago.
Honestly, I probably remember very little. In the description for our next episode, there is one thing on there that I recognize, but I do not remember most of the show. Honestly, with the schedule, when it started doing what it's doing here, is probably about the time I fell off of the show. It got too hard for me to watch and stay with, I imagine. I'm just guessing on that. But I do remember one thing for this next episode. I do think she swallowed it. Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah.
That seems to be her go-to here, is either sticking it in an armpit or swallowing it. Yeah.
Yeah. They would have found it in her armpit, so.
I would hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I assume she swallowed it. Yeah. I agree.
So yeah. So it sets up a lot for the next episodes.
Does. So this was a good episode. I thought this was
That was
really
great.
cool. This
Yeah.
was amazing. I mean, this was some of the like we definitely go back and forth on these episodes. It seems like we're
Yeah.
like, this is the best one since the pilot, and then we're like, this was a real dud, and
Yeah.
which all of this contributes to why this show definitely got canceled. But regardless, this was a really good episode. This was a top
Yeah.
3 probably for me
Easy.
in this show. It was very good, and it was an intriguing plot line, and I like the use of VR and the sneakiness, and I enjoy some good
Yes.
mad science whenever that comes up. And this was really cool. I really like
Yeah.
this one. There's nothing about this episode that I did not like.
Yeah. I like all the same things that you liked, and I really liked that Julia got to finally show her discomfort with playing both sides, and that was really good watching her. And I'm sure some of the what we've been calling like the drug addiction is
Yeah.
probably a lot of emotional struggle that she's running into as she's really caring about the group but wanting to stay loyal to the council. So now she's trying to find a path that'll suit both of them with the injections, and so it makes her go a little extra crazy. And like that for me is what really hooked me. I was like, she's really struggling here. She's becoming dependent on something. She's trying to find a solution that fits everybody's needs, and I don't know, it's just really good for me to see that character development. It was good.
I don't think they ever really say it anywhere in the episode, but the whole reason that she does this, she's trying to find a way to save Yuli.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't want Yuli. She doesn't want them to come take Yuli. And she's like, if I can become the conduit for the Terrians, they can have me. She's like, I already belong to them anyway. I'm part of them.
Yeah.
So it would, Yuli can be spared. They can stop looking for him. They can stop hounding him and us. I won't have to cut him open to take his pineal gland and all these other things. We don't do that anymore. It can be me. And she's really doing it for him. That's the whole reason she goes into mad science, is to save Yuli,
him.
basically.
Yeah. And there's a scene where she does talk to Riley about that. She's laying that plan out. And Riley, what does Riley say? Riley says, hey, if this works, maybe the council will even name a continent after you, on Earth too. And she's like, yeah, what do they call it? Hell.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that was like, you're in a weird spot right now. So, but it was good.
That was good. I agree. Yeah. So this was a good one. It was top notch.
Yep.
If there was a new
drawer.
episode coming out next week, right? If there was a new episode coming out next week, I would definitely be back to watch it. Faux
100%.
show. But the next one does not come out till January 22nd, which is 2 weeks after this.
Yes.
So, and that episode, I'll just read it here while we're talking about it. The next episode is number 9, and it's called Redemption. And with narration by Devin, Alonzo seeks and returns Julia to the camp. Yale is then the first to be shot by a deadly assailant, identified later by Riley as I'm not sure if it's pronounced Zed or spelled Z-E-D. They're all caps with periods in between. We'll find out when we watch the show. But Yale is shot by this Zed, and the group must now find him and stop the threat.
Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.
So that is the part I do remember. I remember there was basically an assassin walking around on the planet that was doing stuff. I don't remember much of that storyline, but just that there was one there. So
I don't know,
there's a whole lot of people on this uninhabited planet.
I know,
a whole lot of people.
Yeah, they're all over.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, this is a cool one. Do we have anything else to talk about this episode, or pop culture or anything in general?
I don't know. I need to go back and look at more, what was happening in '95. So
it was happening.
Yeah, it's cool. The greatest decade, right?
I love it.
It's so good.
If I can make a recommendation, I think I've sent you this song before, but there's a alt country artist named Steven Wilson Jr., I think his name is, and he has a song called 1994, Year to Be Young, and it is a phenomenal song, and it's full of memories for me. I mean, he talks about Nirvana and Last Dance with Mary Jane, by Tom Petty, and roller rinks and passing notes in study hall, and No Fear hoodies. Remember that brand, No Fear?
Yes, I do remember No Fear.
And MTV, and This Is Your Brain on Drugs. All that, he references all that stuff in this song, and it is an amazing song, honestly, for the feels, and it's just a really good song. But I highly recommend it.
All right, so that is it for us today. Thanks for listening, everyone. I want to remind you to like and subscribe to our podcast and rate and review where you can. I've been one of your hosts, Aaron.
And I have been your other host, Rob, and this has been Broadcast Obituaries. Talk to you next time.
Bye, everyone.
He even, I guess this is a pop culture show. We can talk about music and things like that. But
Yeah.
he also has he just had one album that came out a few years ago that had that on it. But he did just recently release a EP of 4 different cover songs, which he called the album Blankets, which is kind of cute because they're covers, get it? But they're really cool covers. One of them is a Nirvana song, and a few other like just oldies from the 90s for the most part. So good stuff. And they're not necessarily, he's a kind of a country artist, but they're not country flavored at all. You would not think that they're country if you listen to them. Even 1994, in my opinion, doesn't sound country.
Yeah, I think you did share it with me, and I remember
thought
it
so,
doesn't
okay.
sound country to me at
Yeah.
all. Yeah,
No.
so I remember
His
that.
other stuff does. A lot of
Yeah.
most of the other stuff. He's got a good cover of Stand By Me, which is incredible.
Yeah.
They use it on a diaper commercial now. I've seen it on TV recently.
That's
I know,
too
it kind of
bad.
breaks my heart. It breaks my heart a little.
Yeah, that's
But
too sad.
yeah, and that is definitely country flavored, but the other stuff on his album is definitely country. Yeah, 1994 is not country, neither are the cover songs that he does on the
Yeah.
other album. But
Yeah,
it's good
I'll
stuff.
put
I
that-
recommend it to anyone that wants something interesting or wants to revisit the 90s.
Yeah, yeah. I do like to go through on YouTube. You can watch like blocks of 1990s commercials or advertisements and stuff. And every once in a while, I'll put one on just to, get into the feels of the 90s and just see what things were
Yeah.
like. But it's pretty interesting. I'll tell you, our advertising and our marketing in the 90s was wild.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff they got away with, just it's amazing. So you should all go back and look at some of that. Oh, it's pretty entertaining.
Maybe we should use some clips from old commercials on this show.
Oh my gosh, we could the Noxzema commercials, because that's a direct tie-in.
I mean, a direct link. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a precursor to Earth 2.
That he
Here's
just
what
stood
I
there
thought.
frozen.
Here's what I thought, and I've probably mentioned this before, but I coach a cross country team, right? And it's elementary, junior high, varsity. We've got them all there. Sometimes in practice, we play a game of like ultimate frisbee, and some of the younger kids, when they catch the frisbee, they basically curl up into a ball because they don't know what to do. They stand there for a second looking around, and then they just curl in on themselves while people swarm them, and that's what happens. In my mind, that's what was happening with Yuli. He kind of froze and didn't know what to do and just kind of stood there and
Yeah.
he's in a fetal position in his brain, basically. Like he's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, and curled up. But that's how
Yeah.
I read it. He just
I
didn't
guess-
know. Look out,
Yeah.
Riker and Troy. I don't know what you're doing in that holodeck, but
Coming in.
Barkley is joining the show.
Those are good episodes. I like
They
Barkley
sure are.
episodes.
He's funny.
Hey, you, Spark!